With all the bloodshed and chaos we witnessed in Season 5, Volume 1, the stakes have never been higher, and the chances of major deaths from Holly to Will can't be ignored anymore. I know these characters have become our favorites, but based on everything we've seen, here's why some of them might not make it out alive. Let's start with the hardest one to talk about, Holly Wheeler, and honestly, her chances of survival look devastating. Holly is one of the children Vecna abducted in Volume 1, and while the kids will mount a desperate rescue mission into the Upside Down, there are so many reasons why Holly might not make it out. The biggest problem is that she disobeyed Vecna when she went to find Max, and even though Max is literally the one person trapped in there who could help her escape, Holly still has doubts about whether Max is telling the truth or if she can be trusted. Now, let's say Holly does go back to Vecna's mansion after hearing everything Max told her. Do you really think a little girl can keep her cool about what she just learned? She's definitely going to try something crazy to save herself, or she won't be able to keep pretending that nothing is wrong. And either way, things are going to turn out really bad. We're talking about a child who was playing Disney princess in Vecna's house while the other world was literally crumbling and everyone was losing their minds because of her disappearance. So instead of becoming Vecna's tool like he planned, she might meet her end simply because she's too young and too weak to survive his games. Beyond the practical reasons, Holly's death feels necessary to escalate the emotional stakes beyond anything we've seen before. The Duffers have made it clear this ending will be dark and brutal. Holly's death would be devastating because she's truly innocent, a young member of the core Wheeler family who was personally targeted by Vecna, and losing her would demonstrate the true terrifying cost of this war to Mike and Nancy, forcing them to push beyond their limits in the final confrontation and guaranteeing that even the Wheeler parents have a massive personal stake in the outcome. Next is Dr. K. The new ruthless military leader will likely try to intervene during the final battle to capture 11, or weaponize the dimensional rift for her own purposes, turning her facility or underground bunker into an active war zone. Here's why her survival seems impossible. Dr. K represents the ultimate threat of human interference and arrogance. She's a secondary human antagonist whose death will prove that the military's attempts to control this power are completely futile and doomed from the start. She'll likely be caught in the crossfire of forces she never truly understood, either devoured by a Demogorgon or creature she thought she could contain, or accidentally destroyed by a massive pulse of power from 11 as the gates fully open or close in the final confrontation. Dr. K serves as a thematic casualty in the story, her death proving that the human race simply can't tamper with interdimensional forces it doesn't understand or respect, and that trying to weaponize the Upside Down will only end in destruction. Next up is Vicki, Robin's new girlfriend, and her chances of survival are honestly not looking great based on everything we know about how these stories tend to unfold. The biggest red flag is the new love interest trope that haunts dramatic high-stakes final seasons, where secondary or new romantic partners often face the highest risk of death specifically to provide an emotional blow to a main character we care about deeply. Just think about Bob Newby, who is Joyce's boyfriend, or Eddie Munson, who became Dustin's close friend. Both were killed off after becoming beloved allies, showing us the brutal cost of this war and that no one is truly safe. From a narrative perspective, Vicki's death would serve a devastating thematic purpose. It would be an emotional gut punch for Robin, forcing her to confront the ultimate loss in a way that fuels her determination and rage in the final battle. Her death would prove that the joy and normalcy Robin just found, that sense of finally being happy and seen and loved, are impossible to keep as long as the Upside Down exists and threatens everything. Beyond the storytelling reasons, there's the practical danger of where Vicki actually is. Volume 1 establishes that she works at the local hospital, and during a full-scale assault on Hawkins, a major public location like that would be a likely target for attacks, whether from the military, Vecna's creatures, or a collapsed gate tearing through the town. Being a non-powered non-combatant stuck in a high-risk location raises her vulnerability significantly. Now, let's talk about Karen Wheeler and whether she'll survive this final battle, because the signs are honestly terrifying. Following Holly's kidnapping and potential death, the Wheeler family is completely fractured and broken. But Karen will likely show a surge of protective maternal instinct against the creatures that have invaded her home and destroyed her life. The thing is, the Upside Down forces have been circling the Wheeler family like vultures since Season 1, creating a dark pattern that points directly at Karen. Back in Season 1, Nancy's best friend Barb was killed on the Wheelers' property. Then in Season 3, the Mind Flayer possessed Billy Hargrove, who had that flirtatious, near-affair relationship with Karen. And Billy was killed trying to protect 11 while the family watched. By season 4, Vecna personally targeted Nancy and showed her a horrifying vision of their entire family's destruction, so it's clear the Wheelers are marked. Karen's presence on a season 4 poster with the Creel house and her appearance in Nancy's apocalyptic vision strongly suggests that Vecna has deliberately targeted her family, and that Karen has a far more significant role to play in this final battle than just being a background parent. There's also the fact that one of the teasers showed a Demogorgon stalking through the hospital while Lucas and Max were trying to hide from it, and Karen is currently in that same hospital recovering from her injuries. Her death would signify that absolutely no one is safe. Not even the suburban housewife who thought she could stay out of this nightmare, and it would really show the complete devastation Vecna has brought to Hawkins. Karen, having already been injured and finally seen the true horror her children face, could be killed trying to defend Ted, who's largely useless, or protect the remnants of her home from an invading monster, dying as a mother who finally understood the terrifying reality her kids lived through all these years. Now let's address the obvious. Vecna, or Henry Creel, absolutely has to die because the body count he's racked up across decades is beyond horrifying, and he shows zero signs of stopping. Starting back in 1959 with the Creel family murders, this was Henry's first killing spree before Dr. Brenner ever got his hands on him. He murdered his own mother, Virginia Creel, and his sister, Alice Creel, using his powers while his father, Victor, survived, but was blinded and wrongfully convicted for crimes his son committed. Fast forward to 1979 and the Hawkins Lab massacre. After 11 removed his inhibitor chip, Henry went on an absolute rampage inside the lab, killing Dr. Brenner's staff and orderlies along with all the other test subjects. He ruthlessly murdered every single child in the Rainbow Room from 002 through 017, except for 11 and Callie, who had already escaped. Then we get to his season 4 murder spree in 1986, when Vecna initiated his plan to open 4 gates and tear a hole between dimensions by killing 4 Hawkins teenagers in the most brutal ways imaginable. Chrissy Cunningham was a cheerleader and his first known victim, then Fred Benson, a student reporter, then Patrick McKinney, a basketball player, and the methods were absolutely horrific with bones snapping and eyes exploding. Beyond his direct kills, there are countless Demogorgon victims, Mind Flayer casualties, and people like Eddie who died because of the chaos Vecna unleashed on this town. The final prolonged confrontation has to take place either in the physical world, possibly in a reconstructed version of the Upside Down, or right in the middle of Hawkins where everyone can see the stakes. As the primary antagonist, Vecna must die to ensure the survival of Hawkins and honestly the entire world, and the only convincing way this happens is through a combined effort where Eleven uses her raw power to physically break him while Will Byers uses the psychic link between them to deliver the final psychological blow, essentially destroying Vecna's mind and permanently closing the gate connecting him to the Upside Down. But imagine if Vecna somehow turns out to be redeemable, like he changes his mind, or he's not finally destroyed in Volume 2. That would be so frustrating and unsatisfying after everything he's done. Speaking of killing Vecna, is Will even safe in all this? But before we continue, like and subscribe now, or you're sleeping in the Upside Down tonight. Now back to Will. Here's the terrifying truth about his powers. They're not really his at all. He's channeling and puppeteering Vecna's own strength by tapping directly into the hive mind network they share and using that connection against its creator. When Demogorgons attack his friends, Will's eyes turn white and he stretches out his hands, freezing the creatures mid-air and effectively overriding Vecna's commands, like he's the one in control now. Then he uses precise, powerful telekinetic force to snap the creatures' limbs and necks, killing them instantly and gruesomely in exactly the same way Vecna kills his human victims. The similarity is chilling. This brutal display shows just how deeply their connection runs. Will carries a piece of Vecna inside him, and that raises the horrifying question: if they're connected, does killing Vecna mean Will has to die too? And what about the 12 children Vecna kidnapped? In one of the teasers, we see Vecna channeling part of himself inside their bodies through their mouths in this disturbing possession ritual. What if this happens before these kids can be rescued? Doesn't that mean killing Vecna would kill them too, because there's literally part of him living inside them now? There better be some kind of spell or solution, because otherwise that's going to be an absolutely bloody nightmare, with innocent children dying just to stop him. Going back to Will specifically, aside from being psychically connected to Vecna, there are other scary reasons his death feels inevitable. Will now has genuine powers, and he's definitely going to be involved in the final battle alongside 11 against Vecna. His death would be the ultimate heroic sacrifice to end the war he unknowingly started back in Season 1 when he was first taken. He could use his deep connection to Vecna to pull the villain's consciousness and perhaps even a piece of the Upside Down itself into his own body, and then using a massive self-destructive burst of power, sacrifice his life to eliminate Vecna forever and ensure the Upside Down is finally sealed off for good. Also, remembering the emotional advice Robin and Mike gave him about being brave and embracing himself might push him toward this heroic act, choosing to save everyone even if it cost him everything. So we've come to the end of this video, pals, and honestly, these predictions are heartbreaking to even think about. What are your takes on who's actually going to die in Volume 2? Do you think Will can survive? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. We want to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing Stranger Things breakdowns.